Hey friend, I have a question for you right out of the gate, and it's kind of a tough question to answer, or it's a tough question to hear, let's put it that way. Have you ever felt unloved, rejected, passed over, neglected? Maybe from the person you loved most in all the world. Maybe you've tried all you know to try, done your best to say and do all the things, only to end up with nothing. Maybe you've asked, whether audibly or in the depths of your heart, when will I be enough for you? Friend, you're not alone. I've been there too. I'm going to tell you about one of those painful times in my life during this episode and what I learned about love in the process. But before I do that, can I ask you a favor? Would you please leave me a review on Apple Podcasts? All you need is an Apple device of some kind, whether that be your cell phone, your Mac PC, or your tablet. These reviews are quick and easy, and they're really, really meaningful and encouraging, not just to me, but to everyone who's wondering if this podcast is for them. Thank you. Does God seem hateful to you, like he's looking for ways to trip you up? Does the thought of opening his word seem daunting and intimidating? Hi, I'm Anna, your host for God's Power Stories, where we connect with God's love through the power of his stories. I believe that God loves us more than we can comprehend, and we experience that love through stories. If you're here to connect through stories about the power of God, with the wind of the Holy Spirit at your back, you're in the right place. Let's let God light our path so we can take that next step toward the fullness of life he has planned for us. Grab your cup of coffee, that Diet Coke, or flavored water. Breathe. Let's dig in to God's Power Stories. Okay, here we go. This is me being uber vulnerable with you. And this happened years ago. But there was a day when I was in a relationship with a man who couldn't seem to leave pornography alone. Or maybe he wouldn't leave it alone. It was more than watching for him, which would have been hard enough on me and the relationship. But he wanted to act out what he saw on screen. Maybe with me, maybe with someone else, maybe watching me with someone else. His preferences might go in any number of directions depending on the day. And it sounds so strange to think about it now, so many years later. But I struggled. Oh, how I wrestled at the time, trying to figure out what to do. Was there anyone I could trust with these secrets? Would it seem like a betrayal if I told someone? Was I wrong to deny this man what he asked of me? Maybe I was crazy. Maybe I was making this up and making it seem worse in my mind than it really was. Maybe this relationship, maybe it was normal. Maybe things like this happened all around me behind the closed doors of other households, between people I knew and trusted and loved. And I was just too naive to understand the normalcy of my situation. Maybe this state of things between us was as good as I could hope for. I remember asking this man once, "When will I be enough for you?" I don't remember what happened before that prompted the question, but I do remember I was in so much emotional pain and trauma that my head was swimming. I felt sick, ugly, undesirable, unloved. I also don't remember his response, but I know it wasn't, "Oh, you are enough. Are you kidding me? You are." Because I wasn't, not in his mind. You know, I've heard a lot of people's stories in my lifetime, and of course I love each and every one. I connect with others through stories. You've heard me say that a million times in a million different ways. So many times people have told me all the things that had gone wrong in their lives as they reflected back. But then they might say something like, "Then Jesus came into my life." Well, this is maybe the hardest thing I have to admit to you now. But when I was engaged in this relationship with this man, I was already a Christian. Shouldn't I have known better? Shouldn't I have run as fast as I could from the situation? Shouldn't I have known how to find safety or refuge? Or was I supposed to stay? Was I supposed to cover for him? Shouldn't a Christian have enough fortitude and grace to forgive and forget? My need to make a decision over this situation consumed my every waking hour. It overtook my dreams. It stole my focus. And my wrestling over it came to a head right around Christmas time one year. I was with my family, and this man was miles and time zones away. A series of events had occurred that Christmas holiday that made me feel like I was going to burst if I didn't get these secrets out. It felt like God was saying, "Tell her," when I looked at one of my sisters. I grabbed her hand and told her I had to talk to her one-on-one and ask her if she'd go for a car ride with me. It was just the two of us in the car, driving mile upon mile on freshly driven snow, with thin, twinkling patches of ice here and there for good measure. We talked and traveled for hours. I cried. I mean, ugly, sobbing, slobbering all over the place type crying. I was embarrassed. I was so ashamed. I felt sick inside. I felt gray inside. It was agonizing, but I told her everything. And you know what? She didn't reject me. She didn't judge me. She didn't tell me her opinion until I asked for it. She was angry, but not with me. Nope. She expressed such deep sorrow over what I'd been through. Her heart ached for me. She loved me completely, despite my faults, despite my weaknesses. No conditions, just love. Fully committed, beautiful, unfettered love. She modeled and exemplified unconditional love for me that day, pure as the driven snow that we were driving on. So my first point in today's episode is this: find someone who loves you unconditionally, someone you can trust to talk to. Unconditional love. It's the kind of love God has for us, and He very clearly instilled it in my sister as well. Isn't it amazing the things we tell ourselves in our heads? I mean, I was convinced that anyone I loved would turn her back on me if she knew the truth about the life I'd been living. But if my sister was in any way a representation of the greater whole, I had been afraid over absolutely nothing. You know, when we walk around afraid of what other people are going to think about us, we make ourselves a slave to their judgment. News alert, if you have breath in your lungs, someone is going to judge you today. And those people are going to judge you no matter what you do, no matter what you say, no matter what. Those are the people who at best love you with conditions. But there are others out there who love you like God does. There are others around you who love you unconditionally. Find them, identify them, align with them. And at the risk of repeating myself unnecessarily, let me just clearly state that there's a huge difference between unconditional love and the love with strings attached. You must have at least one person in your life who models this unconditional love. There is someone out there you can talk to, someone you can trust. It might be a counselor, it might be a pastor. You might have a sister like I do that you can tell anything to. You owe it to yourself to find that person. Now, in my case, when I got it all out, every last detail from my mouth to my sister's ear, I asked her what I should do. And she said that we really needed to tell the rest of the family. What the WHAT? No way. I couldn't do that. Not in a million years. After all, it had taken all the strength I could muster to be able to tell her. She said that she could give me her opinion, but she didn't want to tell me wrong. She also said that she believed the whole family needed to know so that they could support me and pray for me and help me and love me through this. Support, prayer, help, love. Wow. Now, I begged her to do this, but she agreed to tell an encapsulated version of my story to the rest of the family. And she also assured me that we were going to get through this, and that all of these people that I called my family would be there to help me to know what to do. And they did. They loved me just as my sister had when I shared all of this with her. They were calm. They were filled with sorrow just like she was. They were concerned for my well-being. They prayed over me, and they were oh so loving. Now, the consensus of my clan was that this man that I was in a relationship with was going to need help and accountability. After all, we had tried fixing things on our own within the confines of this relationship for a while now, but we were actually further behind than we were when we started. So in order for the relationship to see any real, lasting, and healthy change, it was time for him to get the help that he needed to break free from this sexual addiction with pornography. So my next point in today's episode is to develop a plan of action on how you're going to move forward. And my last point is this. When you're at peace with this decision, with this plan of action, carry it out. Now, I wish I could say that I did and said all the right things from that moment forward. I wish I could report that I was able to enjoy a restored, healthy, and thriving relationship with this man. But nope, my story doesn't end so happily. When I finally got up the guts to tell my sister the truth about this relationship with this man, it was the start of healing for me, but it was the end of that relationship. Now, I did my best to set healthy boundaries with this man. I told him in no uncertain terms that this stuff between us was going to end if we were ever going to be able to stay together. This dysfunction was snuffing out our lives as a couple, and soon there wouldn't be anything left between us. And his response was that he grew angry, defensive, abrupt. He told me that I had just sealed my fate. That now that I had betrayed him by telling my family things that should have remained strictly between the two of us, he was done with me. He chose that moment to inform me that he'd been miserable for the tenure of our relationship and that my telling on him was all he needed now to walk away from all we had built with a clean conscience. Now, I have to tell you, this is one of the hardest things I've ever talked about. But I know my story isn't all that unique. After all, you know how it feels to be loved conditionally, don't you? Something's just off in those relationships. You know the fear of being judged. You know the pain of trying so hard and still being rejected. We only have one life, and we don't know how or when it will end. So while you have breath in your lungs, you have a choice. You can accept God's gift of unconditional love, either directly from Him or through other godly people in your life, or you can keep listening to those who only understand love on a conditional spectrum. Which are you going to choose? This is just the start of the story for me, guys. This is the beginning of the healing. Over the course of the next few episodes, we're going to continue this discussion. I'm going to incrementally lead you through all I've learned, and I hope and pray it's a blessing to you. Okay, friend, this episode is in the books. And hey, before I let you go, I have some news for you. We're going to be dropping bonus episodes here and there that are going to relate directly to our regular Tuesday episodes. I'm going to try dropping them on various days to see if I can get a good handle on which days you like to listen the most. But these episodes are going to be devotional episodes, and they'll be shorter in length, but will be packed with great encouragement to reinforce the subject of the Tuesday episode each week. Lisa Bossy, she was my guest from episode 47, is going to co-host with me. So I'm super excited about that, and I think you're going to love getting to know her better. Wow, that was a lot. Do you still love me? I hope so. I still love you, and I hope to see you next time here at God's Power Stories. Be blessed today, my friend. Hey, real quick, if this episode blessed you in some way, I'd love it if you leave a written review for the show over on Apple Podcasts. These are like gold to me. Reviews help me know what you enjoy while providing insight on what you want to learn about. Also, take a screenshot of the review or this episode so that you can share it on your Facebook or Instagram stories. For Facebook, tag me at Anna Moore Bradfield Author. For Instagram, use Anna Moore Bradfield. When I share you back in my stories, both our lights will shine a little brighter. May you witness God's power in your life today, my friend.